Hi guys, welcome to this live session at Bamboo Bicycle Club London. What I'm going to talk about today are pannier racks, and I'm going to run through exactly how you fit them onto a bamboo bicycle frame. So for those of you that are at home at the moment building kits, or you have a bamboo bicycle and you want to fit a pannier rack on for winter, you need to carry stuff, then I'm going to just run through how you do that and how it's possible to do on a bamboo frame, because sometimes people are unsure. Obviously, it's a slightly different bicycle than one you'd regularly buy. This will run for about 20 minutes, and I'll run through everything step by step of how you do things. I've got a set of tools here that I'm going to talk you through, and I've got a bicycle here. I'm just going to show you how you would traditionally fit a rack onto it. And then hopefully you guys can do that at home. The first thing to think about is the type of rack you want. So there's lots of different manufacturers out there. There's lots of different qualities. If you're just going to use it for like urban commuting or just everyday cycling, I wouldn't worry too much about the quality. If you're thinking about going around the world, or you're doing a bit more extreme and you want something really durable, I would have a little research of what types of racks are available. And I know for a lot of people that are going around the world, tubeless racks are really good. So they provide a stainless steel one. And that's really important if you're going to carry a lot. The rack I've got is quite just a standard simple one. And I can put Pannier Rack on. It's got 2 bars here. I think this retails at about 20 quid. So it's quite a simple one. If you're fitting on a regular bicycle, you want to be really careful if you've got disc brakes or anything, what's mounted. So you might need to get a pannier rack that's disc ready. If you're building a bamboo bicycle and you're using our standard dropouts, the disc mount is down in the chainstay down here. So it's completely out of the way of racks or anything else. So don't worry as much about the rack. Any conventional rack will work on our frames. And that's all part of our dropout design to make it simpler. So the first step I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to remove the rear wheel. And what that's going to do is just give me a bit more room to work. And it will mean that I'm not going to be hitting spokes or damaging anything as I work. So just pop the rear wheel out, and this is a quick release, so I can just take that out easily. If you've got horizontal dropouts, you can just pull the wheel back. And also if you've got through axle, just remove that. So the first step is to remove the wheel. And then what you want to do is take your rack, and the fittings here at the bottom, they're going to fit onto the frame here, and these are going to fit onto the frame. Okay, so the first thing I'd always advise is to fit these to the dropouts, because it's the most conventional. So what I've done here is I've created a thread in the dropout here, which comes standard with all our kits. Or if you want something a bit more robust, you can always put a bolt through, and you can put a nylock through there as well, so you can drill it out completely. So the first step, I'm going to take an M5 fixing, and I'm going to add a washer to that. And a washer is really important, because you can imagine with a rack and so on, it's going to vibrate on the road. So try and put a washer on, and that's going to really help to keep the rack on. And then that's going to fit there. I'm going to grab a tool. So I'm just grabbing a 3mm Allen key. Okay. If you're at home and you're trying to do this, get yourself an Allen key set. Okay. They're about 10 quid online, and they're really, really useful. Obviously, I'm in a workshop, so I've got a few more tools, but you can pretty much do this. So if you're just joining us, I'm just showing everyone how to fit a pannier rack. So that's a rear rack. So that's if you're touring or if you're going commuting. Pannier rack's really useful just to help you carry a load, as it were. So we're just looking at the back one. If you want to do front ones, you just need to make sure that you've got a fork that's compatible with a front rack. Okay, so the first step I've done is to I've removed the rear wheel, and I've fitted the pannier rack into the dropouts, and I've just fitted that with an M5 fitting with a washer. So I've done one side, I'm just going to do the other side. Okay, so I'm just securing this with another bolt. Three. It's always easy on one side and a bit trickier on the other. That's in. Okay. And then I'm going to take my 3mm Allen and just tighten that up. So you may have different fixings. Generally a rack will come with the fixings. don't lose any. When you open the packet and you're really excited, just set them aside or put them in a little box so you keep it all safe, because you'll never find them again. So I'm just going to tighten that on the rear dropouts. And for those of you that are just joining us, I've mentioned that if you've got discs that are mounted on the seat stays here, be really careful because you'll need a disc ready rack. With all our dropouts, we have them on the chainstay, and that makes it a lot easier for racks. So if you're building with our kit or you're building with a workshop, any conventional rack will work for you. It's a lot easier to fit. The next thing, if I've fitted these arms on, and what you'll notice is they're fully adjustable, so I can change the height of them, which is ideal because once I've finished fitting the rack, I can then level it up to the ground. The first thing I'm going to do, I've obviously forgotten a tool, so I'm just going to grab a pencil. And I'll just sharpen that slightly. Okay. So if you're just joining, I'm just running through how to fit a pannier rack. And this is our Wednesday workshop live. And I think this is our 4th session. So you can re-watch all of them online. And we've got about 30 titles to run. So do tune in if you want to learn a few tips and tricks of how to fit things to your bamboo bike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a natural position on this frame of where I want to put these. And I'm going to make a mark, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to fit an insert into the bamboo to help us. So I'm going to make a mark. And the insert I've got, I'll just show you, it's a small insert, and that's threaded inside. This comes as standard in our pack, so you can see I can thread something in. And that comes standard in our home build kit as part of the pack. And that will allow you to fit a rack, bottle cages and so on into bamboo. So the next thing I need is I need a 7mm drill bit, okay? And the 7mm corresponds to the thickness of this little insert here, okay? So I'm going to take my 7mm drill bit, pop it in a drill, so any old drill will do, and then on my pencil mark, I'm going to drill into the frame, okay? And what I'd always recommend is going into the fibre rather than the bamboo, because you'll get a lot more durability. So pick a place on this joint, and every bike will be different, and then drill through. And we're going to drill all the way through. And I've just gone through one side, so I'm putting holes in the frame, everyone, okay? And I'm going to go over to the other side, and I'm going to do exactly the same. And I'm going to try and match that as evenly as I can. If you've got time, take a ruler, measure it, and just really take your time to get this right. Okay. Okay, so I've made my 2 holes, okay? So I'm finished with the drill. So if you're just joining us, I'm talking about pannier racks, all things pannier racks, how to fit them to the bike, okay? So this is a Wednesday workshop live in London. Next thing, seeing as it's Wednesday, we've got an Uber Quell beer. So I'm just going to have a beer as well. So if you're at home and you're watching, please join a midweek beer. And I'm going to pop this in the bamboo. And this just, I think if you watch our introduction to bamboo, I just talk about how good bamboo is at being a beer mug, okay? So thanks again for joining. So the next thing I've done, so I've drilled this hole, 7mm hole into the bamboo, into the lug there. And then I'm going to take my small insert. What I like to do is I just take a file and I just rough them up a little bit more so that they're ready for gluing. And that's just going to create more and more of an abrasive surface, and it's going to help with the bonding, okay? And then what I'm going to do, guys, is just glue this in place. So what I've got is I've got a standard Permabond ET500 that comes with all our kits. So when you're building, just hold some back because it's really useful to glue the inserts in. You can use a regular epoxy or super glue or whatever you've got at home, you can use that to help. And what that will do is, as well as having an abrasive surface on this insert, it will just mean that will bond in and seal really well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some gloves on, just because I'm going to mix some glue, and I just don't want to get glue on myself. To to pop some gloves on. Any old gloves will do, or if you're a bit more careful, you obviously can just do it without gloves, but I would advise doing gloves. Pop the gloves on, and then as I said, I'm going to take the Permabond, and I'm just going to do a very, very small amount. It's not a big insert, so I don't need loads of glue, so just a little bit. Again, because I've got a two-part epoxy, just give that a really, really thorough mix, okay? Because it's a two-part chemical reaction, you want that to go off. The last thing you want is the glue not to go off, and then you're going to end up with your insert coming out mid-ride, okay? So if you're just joining us, as I've mentioned previously, we're doing pannier racks, how to fit pannier racks and all things pannier racks. So how to fit them to a bamboo frame. And I fit them onto the rear of the dropout, and that's very conventional, aluminium fitting, threaded in, job done. The next thing I'm doing now, guys, I'm just putting an insert into the frame. So I'm going to take my insert and just cover that in glue, okay? Nice bit of glue, be generous, and then that insert is going to then get inserted in, okay? And I'm just going to wipe any excess glue. The next thing I would really advise doing is just take an M5 fitting and just screw that in. And that will mean is that when that dries, the threads will remain clear and you won't get any glue on the threads. So it keeps it ready to use. It's very easy just to put these inserts in and then the excess glue can block them. So just pop your M5 fitting in, and I'm going to do the same the other side. Again, put a fitting in. I'm just going to take my gloves off. That's me pretty much done with glue and gloves. And I'm just going to insert that in, okay? And then just make sure those inserts are in really strongly and you've pushed them in all the way. And then I would allow about 10 minutes for them to dry. Obviously, look at the glue you're using. It will have a set time recommendation. I know this has got about 5 minutes, so it's probably pretty much going off now. So once that's off, we can then start to fit the top of the rack to the bike frame. And so these inserts I put in, they're threaded, so I can then fit anything. So similar if you're doing bottles or anything else you wanted to fit to the frame, okay? So the next step to do is to take these inserts, and I know in the pack, so this is the pack I got, they came with some additional lengths. So longer inserts here, which if I want to, I can fit. But I'm going to try and do it without for now with the ones that are already fitted. So this goes on here. Okay. Again, use a washer, because again, it's high vibration. You've got an aluminium rack. It's going to vibrate a lot. Make sure you use a washer, okay, when you fit this. Then I'm going to fit this in, like so. Okay, take my 3mm. I might need a longer bolt. Just going to grab a longer bolt. That's the virtue of being in the workshop. Let me have a look. So if you're at home, it's ideal to have a little box of fittings if you need a longer one. This is what I need now. So I'll pop a longer one on. Okay. Again, fit a washer. Okay. And that fits on here. Simple, tighten up. And then I'm going to do exactly the same the other side. I just need another fitting. Using a washer again. And just fit that into the frame. Okay. Like so. And that's all fitted. And what you'll notice, guys, is I can move the rack this way and that. And that's really useful because what I can do is once the frame's on the ground and I've got a wheel back in, I can set the angle. And when I'm happy, I can simply just tighten these bolts up here. Okay? And what they'll do is they'll lock the rack in place. Okay? So So if you invest a bit more in a rack, you tend to get more fitting options. A really cheap one isn't as good. So I would always spend a little bit of money. As I said, I think this is about £20. So that tightens up. And that's basically done, guys. That's basically how you fit a rack onto a bamboo frame. So I'll just run through that one more time. Fit onto the rear dropouts, and as I said, with our dropouts, they have a fitting for mud guards and they have a fitting for racks. So if I was going to run mud guards, I'd just fit them on the same fitting. So that just fits into here. And then we've used an M5 insert, and we've inserted this into the bamboo lug here. So this lug here, which is all made out of flax and epoxy resin, that is inserted there, because that's going to be the stronger part of the frame rather than on the bamboo here. So I've drilled that with a 7mm and then inserted through here, so that inserts into the frame, glued that in place, and then what I've then done is I've just fitted a fitting with a washer, and I've done the same both sides. The final stage will be to take our wheel, fit the wheel back into the frame, okay. Like so. Like so. Tighten up the wheel. Okay. And this is just a quick release wheel. Okay. And then what I'm going to do then is just take the bike, pop it on the ground. Obviously for you guys, you can't see, so I'm going to pop it up there. And you can almost see, guys, that this isn't quite level. So I'm going to move this forward with the Allen key. Okay. And I'm going to adjust that here. Okay. What you'll notice is these are a bit long, so I'll probably cut those down. So that, guys, is basically how you fit a rack onto a bamboo frame. If anyone's got any questions, let me know. But there's basically the rack there. So if anyone's got any questions, I'm going to put my glasses on and have a bit of beer and just see what questions we've got. Bear with me. Right. Does lower mounting points? Yeah, so I would say no, it shouldn't matter. If I was doing it, if I was spending a bit more time, I'd probably experiment a little bit first with the rack fitted at the back, and then I'd do the uprights last, just so I could test the horizontal. But obviously I'm doing this quite quickly on camera. So if you're doing it at home, I'd do a soft layout first without drilling anything. And then once you know exactly how the rack's going to fit onto the frame and how horizontal it will be, I would then start doing the drilling and everything. Always test before you start drilling and making a mess. Okay, so just test. Every rack will be different and every rack will have different fitting mechanisms and so on. So just be really careful. But what I'm trying to show is that you can easily fit a rack onto a bamboo frame. So David Miller's asked about buying bamboo bicycles. We've always had loads and loads of people over the years saying, please, can I just buy a bike? I don't want to make one. Unfortunately, our ethos is that we believe that people should make their own. We think that there's such a unique experience when you've built a bike and then you ride it every day, and that experience is completely unique, and it can't be experienced unless you build a bike yourself. And when I started probably 10 years ago building bikes, the first time I rode it, I just couldn't stop kind of smiling and enjoyed it so much. I was like, we've got to share this with people. So this is what our ethos is about, is that you come in, you build your experience, you create your bicycle, and you have that experience years and years and years of something you've created yourself. So that's why we don't sell them. But you can buy them elsewhere if you really want to.
David was asking about the apron.
Oh, the apron, sorry. Well, we did actually make this apron in-house. And what we're thinking of doing is launching just a pattern so you can make your own at home, which would follow the same as our home build. So if you're really interested in one, drop us an email and we'll send you the pattern for free, okay? So if you want to get involved and you want to see what pattern it is, we'll send you the logo thing and we're happy to send the pattern so you can make your own at home. Probably took us a couple of hours. So if you've got a couple of hours and you want to make an apron, drop us an email, okay? I think that's it for questions.
Is it easy to lose the fitting inside the bamboo when you drill the holes? If you do,
No, so just on the fitting, these are known as inserts. So they're just standard inserts and they're designed for carbon manufacturing, and they've got a little ring at the top, okay, which acts as a washer. So this area here is 7mm and this is more like 10mm. So it stops the insert going too far in, and it also seals against moisture. And if you put these inserts in and then you fit your rack and then summertime comes, what I'd recommend is just leave a fitting in them at all times, because it will stop any more water or moisture getting into your frame. So yeah, you can use those to fit the rack, take the rack off, and they're just really, really useful just for inserts into the bamboo and into the lug area as well. How about a template for bamboo? Yeah, so we built bamboo racks, and Robert pioneered an early design of a rack. So if you have a look on our Instagram, you can see his wonderful bamboo rack on his fat bike, and he also put his skis on so he could kind of go off-road. Take the rack off, and then just yeah, so you can make a bamboo rack. So if you want to make a bamboo rack and you're building at home, just add a comment to your home build kit order and just say, can I get a bit more bamboo to make a rack? And then you can just integrate your own rack as well out of bamboo. Again, it's a bit more time. So if you've got a spare day and you want to make a bamboo rack, just send us an email and we can send you a quick design of how to do it. And it's really simple to do. So I've just showed a conventional rack, which you can quickly get off the shelf. But if you want to make your own bamboo one, 100% possible. And we can send you a design, just get in touch. So just to run through, guys, I've just run through the pannier rack, how to fit a pannier rack onto a frame, a bamboo frame, and I've talked about how to fit it onto the dropouts, frame inserts, and then how to adjust and set it up as well to get it horizontal so it's a lot more balanced while you ride. So watch through and you can watch the video. If anyone's got any more questions, let me know. If you've got questions in general, please email us, Facebook us, Instagram us, Twitter us. We will try and answer all your questions. And if you tune in on our next Wednesday workshop, we'll be covering a new subject. So we've got about 30 subjects. And if you stay tuned into our social media, you'll know exactly what's coming. Thank you ever so much for tuning in. Please stay safe, and hopefully we can all avoid another lockdown and enjoy the freedom of life. And I will speak to you soon. Thank you ever so much.